Hi Floss Tube, this is Susan Stanley Stitch in Time, and today's little mini special edition episode is just something I wanted to share with you. I normally talk about cross stitch and antique textiles from the 1800s and notions, sewing notions, but today I wanted to share with you something kind of fun. I recently had one of my antique samplers reframed, and I thought it would be fun to film opening up the old frame, which was not the original frame to the piece, and taking it out and just seeing if there was anything exciting inside. So I filmed that process and the unveiling of this sampler from 1806, and I don't know when it was reframed. Definitely the frame was not from 1806, but it was in rough shape and it needed to be preserved a little bit better. So I was hoping to find something exciting inside, and I thought, well, if there is something exciting inside, I'm going to film it because I want to share it with you. And if not, then you can see the process of taking a sampler out of its frame. Now, I know a lot of people have shown similar things and have done similar things, and there's a lot of Instagram posts of it, but I just wanted to share the fun with you. And so here it is. Here's the unveiling, and then at the end I will show you how it was reframed. Okay, thanks for joining me today, and I'll be back with a regular video. So here's the sampler that I wanted to unframe, and I don't know what's inside. Maybe nothing. Sometimes there's a note left inside the frame that gives a little history of the sampler, maybe a little bit about the person who last owned it or stitched it. This sampler is from 1806, so that would be pretty unusual, and I don't think this is the original frame. It's got a veneer that's peeling off, and I'm going to have it reframed and preserved. I'm trying to do that with some of my older samplers that are in frames, because this is probably not museum glass, and there's probably things in there that are not friendly to linen or any kind of fabric and fiber over time. You can see this has a whole bunch of eaten up spots. Let's see if I can hold that up. So it's definitely seen some wear and tear. Anyway, it's just really pretty and I love it. It's got kind of a morbid, it's kind of a morbid little poem. I think I shared this once before on one of my other floss tubes, but this little piece my friend may have, and you can see how she stitched friend. Pardon me for bumping. I'm trying to film this on my own. It's a little bit challenging. When I am dead and in my grave, when greedy worm shall feed on me, my name hereunder you may see. And you can see it's that elongated S that appears in earlier samplers. So anyway, there's some damage here on the outer edge. Let's see if I can get that in there for you to see. But let's open it up and see what's inside. I know this was reframed at one point, so on the back, because yeah, it's got this sticky, there was nothing like that in the 1800s that I know of. There might have been, but I don't think there was this celluloid tape. All right, so I do have some acid-free tissue paper that I'm going to put this in to store it until I get it to the framer. And I don't think this frame is of any value. I can feel along the edge here, there's a little, I'm just gonna open it with my fingernail. Just wanna make sure I don't cut the sampler. So this looks like, I don't know if you can see that, some kind of a muslin. I'm not sure what that's attached to, but let's find out. And I did watch or saw some of the images that Northumberland Sampler Stitcher, I believe is her name, posted on Instagram of her wearing gloves and a mask to open up one of hers that was pretty moldy and old. That is probably a really, really good idea if it's the original frame. This one's been reframed. I don't see any sign of water damage. I'm not afraid of black mold on this one, but she did tell me that she's going to publish a book on conserving samplers, and I will definitely be getting that. I don't know when it's coming out, but when I was heavily involved in quilting, I got involved with antique quilting documentation groups, and you would wear, of course, you wash your hands, you wear white gloves to touch the older quilts. You would wear an apron to make sure that nothing from your clothes would get onto the quilt. I am not taking all those precautions with this. It's mine. I can, you know, if I ruin it, I ruin it. It's only myself I have to blame, but I wouldn't ever want to hurt anybody else's. So that tape definitely leaves some residue. So I'm glad whatever they did, they must have put a piece of fabric in between the sampler and the cardboard. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing up here. So it's pretty tight in there with the nails. All right, so this is definitely a very thin piece of muslin. It's pretty stained. Let's see if I can move these nails with my fingers. No wonder my fingers are getting sore. Okay. I know this is not the proper tool. I'm just going to try to move these nails so I can at least lift that out. So no notes, no hidden mysteries right behind the first layer here. Let's see if there's anything else inside. Okay, so I've got all the nails up, and they were pretty soft. They weren't very strong. And then I've got this thick piece of cardboard. The sampler is not attached to, thankfully. Get rid of that. So yeah, they've got the measurements in there, and it looks like somebody had some foresight to put this piece of muslin down between, oh, and it looks like it is completely glued to the muslin. Interesting. That will probably need to come off. I wonder if they were thinking that would preserve. Really glad they put that muslin down because it is, the tape is stuck to it. The nails are pounded into it. Here it is. Wow, the color's so much more vibrant away from the frame. Look at that. Even that blue. Let me get this out of the way here, because that won't be needed anymore. So I think the reason that that was in there, because there's obviously this moth damage here. So backing it with that piece of muslin really hid that in the framing process. Now when I frame my antique samplers, I kind of like to see right up to the edge, and I like to see the hem stitch. And this was framed to cover the hem stitch. And this little bird up here in the corner was kind of hidden. Apologize for the filming. I'm not a good filmer, and this is a one-man band in here it is a little bit, yeah, quite a bit of damage there, but that's okay. But interestingly enough, the black is really strong and it has not traveled. So either, I don't know what it was dyed with. Back then, black wasn't stable, but I don't know. And quite probably there was no water. No water got to this. Moths definitely did, so it's kind of appropriate for the poem that's attached to it. There's a bit of moth damage there. Then you can see in the ship, you can see a little bit more right here. Elizabeth Hartley, 1806. Well, Elizabeth, I'm going to take good care of your work here. I love your stags. Look at them. Her antlers almost look like ski poles. Little bird, little dog, flowers, another little dog. We don't know how old Elizabeth was. It's a little bit of lavender in this little motif there. And then GR, possibly her parents' names. I don't know, somebody's initials. That kind of that green. Love the dots on the moth. All right, well, thank you for joining me for that. I was hoping there'd be a little more information inside, but I'm thrilled with what I found. And I'll keep you posted because eventually this is going to be framed and hanging again somewhere in my home. Wasn't that kind of fun? I was sure excited. It's like unearthing a buried treasure in a lot of ways. I was hoping, beyond hope, that there would be some note or written information, piece of newsprint, I don't know, just anything that would give me some idea of when it was reframed or anything about it, but didn't find anything like that. Was kind of shocked and pretty disappointed that the sampler had been glued onto a piece of board. That was pretty horrifying. So even I was glad to find that out though, because that made me even more encouraged to reframe it and have it preserved and conserved. So I met with my framer. She's wonderful. Her business name is Heidi's Place. Ooh, can't read that. Heidi's Place. I'll link the information below. She is in Bothell, Washington, so she's not far from me. And she has done a lot of needlework framing, and she really knew what she was doing. So I'm very, very pleased with the work she did. We both agreed that there was no way to take the sampler off of the board without damaging it, and the fibers were already pulling just in the teeny tiny corner. I tried to lift it. It was affixed. So someone had slapped some kind of glue, I don't know what, onto the back of the sampler and slapped it onto a piece of hardboard. Okay. Michelle, Mom Loves You GB, was talking about clutching her pearls when she recently received something in the mail that wasn't packaged very well. Yeah, that's kind of the feeling I had. But I feel like now this little treasure is safe and preserved and to be enjoyed and studied and learned about. Anyway, not quite totally the outcome I was hoping for, but yet it was, because now I know Elizabeth Hartley is safe. And so I'm going to show you Elizabeth in her new frame. I think Heidi did a magnificent job. She suggested the little gold filigree here on the inside, and I couldn't be happier. I feel like the motifs show up even better. I'm sorry, we're getting the reflection in of the window. Just beautiful. And someday I'd love to chart this, but charting is a whole nother adventure, and I've played around with it, but it's definitely not for the faint of heart. It's a lot of concentration. But it said, this little piece my finger may, when I am dead and in my grave, when greedy worm shall feed on me, my name here under you may see. And what I love about this is her, let's see if I can get this at an angle where it's not glaring. Oh. Where she's made these huge corrections because she ran out of room. She put letters up on top of the word. Anyway. For friend, that's friend. The word friend. Just so charming. So anyway, I want to share with you, I'm very, very pleased with how she's been reframed, and I have a little bit of information about her. I hope to find out more, and I'll try to take some still shots now so we don't get the glare. Apologize for that. My filming is improving, but maybe not quite as quick as it should. I don't know. So Elizabeth Hartley in her new frame. Okay, I'll be back soon for another video at some point. Thanks for stopping by and visiting with me today. I wanted to point out to you the holes that I believe I pointed out when I was taking it out of its original frame, and just how nicely they blend into the background and the matting. And my framer actually stitched this onto the acid-free board and then framed it nice and close to the edge, which I really like. So, and then there's that, the E is backward, the N has been put on top of the word for friends. Just the colors, I just love the colors. Oh, so rich. And this is the front. The back I couldn't see because it was glued onto a board. Anyway, curious to know who G and R represent. Love the deer or the stag. so interested in these ships. They look like canal boats. Or as I mentioned earlier in a previous video, they remind me of the boats from Egyptian mythology that take you on the river Styx down below to eternal life or death, I guess. This woman, I believe that's a dog, quite faded. The moth, beautiful actually, gorgeous. The black is, I don't know that there's ever been water near this because look at that black. There's no migrating of color at all. And then of course there's those long elongated S's. So, and just a simple border. I don't know how old Elizabeth was when she stitched this, but likely she was young. There's a dog. Another dog, a bird. So sweet.